Hello and welcome to Ready Set K, Kindergarten Readiness Study Guide. We hope that you'll join us today as we learn more about this important kindergarten readiness screener. In this session, we'll understand what kindergarten readiness is, what Ready Set K is, understand how to use the expectations in Ready Set K, and understand the continuum of progress scale that is in Ready Set K. Are you ready? So, what is Ready Set K? It's a guide designed to assist teachers by providing clear expectations and definitions of the benchmarks associated with school readiness, to give everyone a clear understanding of different assessment strategies, and it's a set of response to intervention strategies to help children build skill. It's also approved by TEA, and it's linked to later school success. In fact, students who are rated as ready by their teachers are far more likely to go on to pass their reading STAR and reading math exams in third grade. So, what's the definition of a school-ready child? Why don't you tell us? Take a moment and on a sheet of paper, make a list of attributes that you think define a school-ready child. Pause the video and we will come back and discuss. All right, are you back? Now, chances are your list would be different from another teacher's list and be different from another teacher's list. You might have thought of things that were driving you crazy this year that you really wanted to make sure you got right. You might have put social emotional skills where other teachers would have concentrated on ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. Maybe you were thinking about potty training or tying shoes. All of these things go into making a school-ready child. Ready Set K was developed by teachers, a whole bunch of teachers, and based on the state standards. It establishes a common language around the competencies and expectations of Ready Set K. The content of Ready Set K has strong social emotional development, language and communication, emerging literacy, and mathematics, which are the 4 main domains. There are 18 competencies in the 4 domains, and each competency has 3 main parts. 1, a clear and common expectation of what we're looking for when we say they're ready. 2, strategies for assessment. And 3, a dynamic response to intervention model. So let's look at the social emotional pre-K guideline, which is a Ready Set K guideline when it is linked to the kindergarten TEAK. And this guideline is child sustains attention to personally chosen or routine tasks until they're completed. The issue with this guideline is we don't have a clear definition. In order to do this, we need more information. So here's the kindergarten expectation as it linked to the kindergarten TEAK. Child persists through and completes tasks despite distractions and can leave and return to a stated project. Child remains focused and engaged for up to 40 minutes during self-selected activities and up to 25 minutes for teacher-initiated tasks and small or whole group instruction. Now, chances are you're not going to have a lot of 40 minutes of uninterrupted time in your classroom, but you may have 25 minutes of teacher-initiated tasks and smaller whole group instruction. You might also see children work and come back on a stated project, and that can help you make a determination on this kindergarten expectation. Again, we're talking about establishing a common language and expectation and capturing your depth of knowledge about each individual student and competencies. So Ready Set K, as you can see, is not just about sitting down and doing a sit and spit with a kid. It's looking about what you're already doing in the classroom and everything you know about that child in order to make a rating on this expectation. So let's talk a little bit about that. And of course, for young children, we have books, and for kindergarten teachers, we have books. And this book is called 7 Blind Mice. One day, 7 blind mice were surprised to find strange something by their pond. "What is it?" they cried, and they all went home. On Monday, Red Mouse went first to find, and then Mouse. Yellow Mouse, 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 Blue Mouse. No one could agree on what it was: a snake, a rope, a fan, a cliff. Until on Sunday, White Mouse, the 7th, went to the pond. When she came upon the something, she ran up one side and she ran down the other. She ran across the top and from end to end. "Ah," said White Mouse, "now I see. The something is as sturdy as a pillar, as supple as a snake, as wide as a cliff, as sharp as a spear, breezy as a fan, stringy as a rope, but altogether the thing is an elephant." The mouse moral: knowing part of something makes a fine tale, but wisdom comes from seeing the whole. With Ready, Set, K, we understand that a snapshot assessment of a child doing a computer-aided design of picking letters or letter recognition, numeral recognition, whatever that point in time, is just one piece of data. And teachers have the richness of so much more data at their fingertips, and we want to know what you know. So Ready, Set, K is like a toolkit, organizing all of those tools that you have to assess children and putting them together to get the whole look at the child. Because unlike the story of the 7 blind mice, every single piece of data can add to what you know about the child and can be true. But putting it together helps us better understand the entire child, and not just from a point in time, but from a formative assessment standpoint. So Ready, Set, K establishes common language around the competencies and expectation, captures a teacher's depth of knowledge about individual student competencies, and details strategies along a continuum of progress. So now let's look at that continuum of progress. Now, this is not the continuum of progress on Ready, Set, K. This is very similar, so I want you to look at this. Cook demonstrates understanding of the following multi-step recipe to create a delicious meal. So your continuum of progress is 1, a focus, in red. The cook does not know the location of the kitchen. This may be attributed to lack of exposure. Get ready, 2, yellow. The cook is able to prepare a basic meal with assistance from YouTube videos, pausing often to understand each step. The cook is ready for practice. Set, 3, green. The cook can curate a mail order meal delivery and prepare a meal depicted on the recipe card. Expectation is set. 4, go. The cook creates a menu independently and has 50,000 blog followers and is interviewed for Top Chef. Cook goes beyond expectations. So take another moment here. Where would you fall on this continuum of progress point scale for this creating a delicious meal? Do you have your rating? You can see that there is a lot of difference between a 1 and a 2 and a 3, and a 3 and a 4. On Ready, Set, K, we want you to look at this big difference. How do you get from step 1 to step 2? How do you get from step 2 to step 3? Is someone helping you or working with you along the way? Look, consistently was 90% of the time. All right, I have to look at this again. Occasionally it was 25%, typically 50%. frequently 75, consistently. I got it. Let's go. So child 90% of the time makes marks that resemble letters or letter-like units. 25% interspersed with symbols representing I love you. Child 25% of the time copies print, and frequently 75% of the time makes phonetic or non-phonetic strings. So this is a lot of taking apart to make a rating on one of the expectations with Ready, Set, K. But that's because this represents an entire writing competency. This is the only writing competency on Ready, Set, K, and we want to make sure things are coming together for a child. The benefits of using Ready, Set, K are especially prevalent in the intervention and differentiation on the Continuum of Progress scale. Each rating on a Continuum of Progress scale has an intervention associated with it for every single competency in Ready, Set, K. The response to intervention is integrated with teaching and curriculum to list instructional responses and meet the needs of individual students based on each child's performance at the conclusion of the 9-week period. You can use it to help children. You can also use it in your guide to make sure your rating on the Continuum of Progress scale is correct. For instance, if you rated a child a 1 and then look at the intervention strategies and say, you know what, this child's already successfully doing those intervention strategies, I would move them to a 2. If you looked at the 2 and thought the same thing, move them to a 3. It's okay to go back and change your rating once your initial impression is there. If you look at the Continuum of Progress scale and you look at the response to intervention, and you can see where the child is in the response to intervention piece. So this sounds like it's a lot of new data gathering and a lot of work to organize and understand where all your children are on this. But most teachers have some best practice ideas for how they're already organizing their work. I want you to again take a minute and think about how you gather information about children, how you are assessing them on a daily basis, and what could you do to create a system for observation. Take just a few minutes, pause the video, and come back. All right, have you thought about what you typically do to organize your observations? One thing is, remember that how broad the Continuum of Progress scale is. You have a lot of room to make determinations, but before you make a determination, you have to have the evidence. And that's really intentionally looking at that expectation and planning for areas of the room where those expectations might be acted out. So if you're talking about counting and math skills and you have a block center, that's a great place to intentionally look for the math competencies. If you have a writing center or a grocery store and people are making lists and doing other things and shopping and asking the price of things, there are multiple ways that you can observe at a writing center or grocery store center. Are there lessons that are coming up where you know you're going to be talking about language, about words, about different things, and you can watch and while the children are doing that lesson and understand where they are. Most systems for management start with clearly understanding what standards you're assessing, looking for opportunities in the environment, and looking opportunities for your lessons and work samples that can give you as much information as possible without necessarily doing anything extra except being intentional and paying attention. The other systems for management focus around how you're going to gather this information and keep it so that you can reflect upon it later when you're making your determination. Some teachers use address labels and write quick observations about students on their address labels and then take a notebook or page for each child and peel the address labels and put them down on the appropriate child's page so that they understand they have so many observations per child. Some teachers go further and organize this by domain so that they can see where students are social emotionally, where they are in language and communication, emerging literacy, and math. And some teachers find this helpful. Other teachers use post-it notes. Some teachers use Evernote or electronic formatting systems. Seesaw is a great way of keeping track of a portfolio type organization for teachers. Help keep teachers organized so that they have this information when they're coming to reflect on a child. If you have any questions, please let me know. There is a part 2 of this training which is coming up next, and we hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much.